Welcome to the Project Violet podcast. My name is Daniel.
And I'm Carrie.
There we go. It's our intros. I think we originally had a formal intro that
We
I've
did.
now
I was
forgotten.
wondering last time if we just dropped it and you made an executive decision.
Yeah, usually usually I have it written somewhere. So maybe we need to come up with a new one if it's not like sticking in my head.
Or not. I
Or not.
mean, I
You're
don't
good.
think people are coming here for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think our dozens of listeners kind of know who we are now.
I think you're right.
There
I
we
think
go.
you're right. We'll spare the couple of seconds.
Yeah. All right. So, well, how are you doing today? Good.
I am great today, actually. How are you?
Good. Yeah. It's still a little gloomy in Houston, but I think I'm just excited for the fall. I want it to be colder. It's so warm and humid here.
I totally agree because I'm in Charlotte and I was wearing jeans yesterday. I'm wearing them again today. And it's, 80 degrees, which feels like a relief. You know this, like when it's 80 after it's been 100, all summer. But I'm just tired of shorts.
Yeah,
Tired
I'm
of them.
tired of. So my daughter, every time she comes from daycare, wants to go on a walk outside,
Oof.
and it's just every
And
time.
what time is that generally?
It's like four,
Oh,
4:45, five
no.
o'clock,
You're like, honey, do you see that no other human being
and
is
it's a
outside?
100 degrees outside. It's like I want to
Right.
ride my bike or I want to go on a stroller walk. I'm like, well, that's great for you.
Oh, what a doll. I mean, yes, like she doesn't even care, but that's like the worst time.
Yeah,
You're
she's the
like, come
only.
back and get me at
Yeah.
like 10 p.m.
You can tell she's an only child. She's so spoiled. So like we'll put her in the stroller. I'll give her, or my wife will, give her some watermelon and then give her a water bottle. She has a fan.
I
And
mean,
then
that's why
we'll
she
just
wants to
walk
go.
her.
You need to make it uncomfortable. She's
And
going
then
to stop
I'm just
asking.
sweating.
You got to make it uncomfortable. You can't give her those things.
Yeah, I know.
And she's going to be like, wait, this isn't any fun anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's like this is why they invented air conditioning.
Well, that's for
Yeah.
sure. I remember the first year we moved here to Charlotte, I thought I would get out, the summer when you live in the Midwest, the summer, you got to soak up every single minute of the sun that you get.
Hmm.
And I've just conditioned that way. And I remember moving here and I was like, I'm going to go take a walk. It's lunch. And I remember walking my neighborhood, within moments, I'm drenched in sweat and I can barely breathe. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't see a soul out here. And this is why. Like people don't walk at noon
No, only crazy
in
people
the
do this.
summer in the South. Like, what am I doing? Ah,
Yeah.
really.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to the fall when things kind of cool down a bit. I miss that. I miss the Actually, I really miss the Chicago kind of
Oh,
fall
no,
time.
no,
No? Okay.
not me.
40s, 50s, that's my temperature. It's my comfort zone.
No, thanks. Let's move on.
All right. Okay. Today, what are we talking about? So, a few things going on in the consulting side of the community. So, I wanted to share a little bit about what I did with AI this week. And there's a lot of different ways we can go. And I definitely want to carry your input and your feedback on this since you are a professional facilitator. This is something that you're very good at, one of your superpowers. And it's not mine, but I've been doing it every week in the community. So just to give some context, in the community, every Friday we have what we call a learning session, and essentially the whole community gets together. We talk about kind of what we've been working on in the week, and I kind of give a recap on things that are going on in the community and what we're focused on and what we're going to do next week. I've noticed on a few of these calls that the engagement has been pretty low,
Okay.
and I can see everyone kind of in the gallery next to me, and sometimes it does look like people are kind of fading away as
Okay.
as I'm talking. So I always ask for feedback at the end of the meetings, and it's always kind of crickets.
Sure.
But I want to improve. I want to make sure that everyone who's coming to this are getting value, they're engaged, and it's kind of fun to join. Um, and I'm not that fun of a person.
I disagree,
No,
but
okay, yeah,
continue.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, so this is what I did. I took the transcripts from two of the meetings, the two of the last meetings, and I fed it into every single LLM that I've been testing out. So it was ChatGPT, it was Claude, Gemini, Copilot, and I just asked, I had a whole prompt on give me some feedback. I want you to be candid and, really give me some critiques that I can work on to make this better. I'm feeling
Yeah.
there's low engagement on these learning sessions. And they gave me some really good feedback.
Okay.
And what I ended up doing is I think they call this ensembling. I took all the feedback from all the different LLMs, put it into ChatGPT and it said, hey, can you do a thorough analysis on this and give me some feedback on and some suggestions and guidance on how I should improve going
Like, what's the
forward.
action item based
Yeah,
on this feedback? Sure,
and
I
it
love it.
was
Okay.
fantastic. Yeah, so
Okay.
there are some themes. It was and I love this because it's always hard to get feedback from people. You know,
Uh,
you ask, and you never really get. I think people just want to be polite, and this is such a great way to get good feedback that you can take in and digest in private. Um, some of it did kind of hurt, but at the same time, no one else knows it except for me and now you
mhm.
and all our listeners.
Well, there's that, right?
Yeah, but it's such a good way to get feedback.
Well, and I think I want to say though, and we could talk about feedback for hours because it's one of my favorite topics. Though it shouldn't replace like a human conversation, right?
Mm,
At all times. But I think this is really cool that you've got in this unique experience where you've got these people who don't want to hurt your feelings, because that is my experience. Number one, all the time, whenever I facilitate on feedback, I ask the audience, and I mean, sometimes it's a couple hundred people, and I'll say, what do you feel in your body, or what are you thinking when you have to give someone some critical feedback? And critical feedback is defined by, we need to ask someone to change their behavior, right? We need to
mm.
let them know that there's an impact to this negative behavior on some level that they probably didn't intend, and then we have to get them to change it and try something else. And so 100% of the time people are like, I feel sweaty, I'm anxious, I don't want to do it, I don't want people to not like me, I want to be helpful, or and they misunderstand, right? That feedback is like clear as kind, as we always say. So feedback is the most important gift we can give somebody we care about.
Yeah, that's
Full
one of
stop.
the
Right?
yeah, I love that. That's one of those carry isms that I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna write down. Clear is kind. Actually,
Yeah.
you said that in our before we hit record. I was like, oh, I'm gonna write that down. Clear is kind,
I don't
and
think I
feedback
came
is
up
a
with it,
gift.
but I
Is
definitely believe it with my whole body. Like,
oh, to me,
clear is kind.
to
Yes.
me that's a carryism. Clear is
Uh-huh.
kind, and then feedback is a gift. I've used that multiple
Yes.
times. That came from
It's a
you.
mindset shift. But anyway, back to
Yeah,
like, I'm so thrilled for you in this way. I love this use of AI, but I mean, I couldn't, it's like
yeah.
my world intersecting with AI in a way
It's a
that
huge
feels really
unlock.
special.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thrilled. And if it can get more people asking for feedback and then, shifting behavior, what a
yeah.
cool
Yeah,
result.
it's a great way to just record your meetings, give it to AI, and tell them to give you some critical feedback on how you're presenting or how you're running the meetings and stuff like that.
Well, we can all
But
be better.
yeah, we can,
I love
and
that you asked this.
yeah,
So are you going to share? Are we going
yes,
to?
I'm going to share, and
Okay.
I think this is the human in the loop part, right? So you're getting feedback from AI,
Uh-huh.
but go to a real person, an expert, and get their take on the feedback. So you kind of get a little AI, a little kind of real world, suggestions. Okay, so here are the five themes.
Okay. Five
Yeah.
themes.
Yeah,
Okay.
the five
I'm just
themes from
expecting like two. Okay.
no, it gave a no, there's a lot. These were like the top ones. It was interesting. The analysis said, okay, here's the themes of the feedback. Here's how many LLMs gave you that specific feedback. So it
Oh,
was like frequency, four LLMs gave you the same feedback on this particular theme. Like one gave you this and one. So it was actually really cool. But
you
number
can
one,
almost like get rid of the outliers, or
yeah,
something, right?
yeah.
Like, trend is your friend, right? So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can really kind of focus on the main points. So number one is excessive facilitator talk time.
Oh, the
All
number one no
models,
no.
all models noted you dominate conversation, 80 to 90%, reducing participant ownership and energy. Ooh,
Okay.
which is true. Which is true. And I think a lot of it is I'm approaching these the wrong way, where I think in my consulting career and in a lot of my projects, when I'm presenting, it's usually, to executives, and they want me to give as much information as possible, and then they react at the end and they start trying to poke holes into, whatever plan or strategy that I'm presenting.
Hmm.
So usually it's designed that way, where it's front loaded with me doing a lot of the talking and make sure I'm prepared for all the answers. Um, and I think I approach it subconsciously in the same way, where this is not that. This is a learning session. There should be engagement. There should be a lot of community
Mhm.
participation. And I'm not presenting to executives to try to, convince them of a strategy or to prove that, our team
Right.
is doing the right thing. So anyway, that is number one feedback. I talk too much.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is good. And it's so self-aware of you to be like, well, this is what I've known and always done. So
Yeah.
this is just an opportunity to shift that. Like, it
Yeah.
makes complete sense to me that you're going to behave in a way that has worked for you in
Hmm.
the past. And now, but now it's a different, I like, again, to your point, right? It's a different thing. You need the conversation and the dialogue from the participants.
Yep. And another great takeaway is it gives you time to reflect. You know, when you're getting feedback in the moment, sometimes you're a little defensive and all that kind of stuff. Like I was able to kind of, marinate on this for a bit and think about why, that was the approach I was taking. But from your perspective, as, someone who does this a lot, what's a good kind of talk time for a presenter?
Oh gosh, I don't think you're gonna want to hear. I don't know. This isn't like a
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. And I guess it's
no, you
different for
can.
every situation or every talk,
I don't
but
know that this is data backed at all. I think I'm just answering from my own personal experience. I mean,
mm,
truly, the less the facilitator speaks, the better,
yeah.
Daniel. And I think, I mean, I would go like 30% of the time we should be talking as
Oh wow,
facilitators.
okay.
I mean,
Hmm.
I was going to surprise you. That's why I was like kind of cushioning it. I think
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
there's always, I mean, the rule is, right? We present an idea because there's a teach piece to
Yep.
what you're doing, and that's
Yes.
important because there you have people in this community who are trying to learn from you, and that is important. And so
Yeah.
you have your teach piece, but it has to be structured at that point. Once you take a couple minutes to teach the thing, it really then becomes, how can I get them talking to each other, right? By posing questions,
Yeah.
by putting them into breakouts where you're maybe not even, I mean, your groups, sometimes they're small enough where you can just talk that
Yeah.
way, but really the power of the pause for the facilitator is really critical. It's like
You have to
no
get
more talking. Yes.
yeah. And I think I need to be comfortable with silence and allowing
Oh,
people
yes.
giving people space to respond, which is actually a good leading into the second theme. Weak, vague questioning. Broad
Ah.
broad prompts. You say any thoughts which yield low engagement. Targeted situational questions are suggested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's true.
I second that. Yes.
Yeah. Like just thinking through some of the ways that I've run it is I'll have my slides and I'll run through the slides and I'll be very thorough about it. And then at the end I'll just say any questions, any thoughts? Like that's again too vague. So
They're
great
not going to jump
feedback.
in. They're not going to
Yeah.
jump in at that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to definitely work in some more targeted questions. And I think this week there's definitely going to be some good ones. Um, all right, next one. Or any thoughts on questions or any guidance,
I have a couple
comments?
thoughts on questions. I want to get into most. I don't want to do all the talking because I want to hear about this feedback. The question piece, like sometimes you have to think about too that, well, some people take more time to process information. Like, so you're sharing this information by facilitating, right? You're teaching them
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
And then when you say any thoughts or any questions, they may not in that moment have any. And so that's why the suggestion of being a much more targeted, specific question is really key because it gets them thinking about that one thing. A lot of times people need a bit to process or digest the
Yeah.
information before they can reflect on it. So when you ask something specific, they feel more confident in their ability to share their answer to that
Yeah.
question,
Mm,
right?
yep. So for your talks, I'm sure you do this, you plan in targeted questions kind of throughout the
That's right.
agenda. Yeah.
That's right.
Hmm.
Yep. And it forces you as a facilitator to pause. I mean, the thing that's so great about you in this work is that you're really passionate about it and you're really great. You're an expert in this. And so you have all this information that you want to share. And so you need to, it can't even happen organically. At this point, you have to be structured
Yeah.
and put in truly. And this is true for most facilitators. I mean, unless there's somebody who's just they're truly just a professional facilitator and it's not their content. That's
Yeah.
a different situation where they're not tied to it emotionally at all. You're very emotional about this content because it's you, right? You've built it. So
Mm,
you have to put in that structure for yourself to say, okay, this is a great moment, like chunk it smaller, right? The
yeah.
teach pieces are shorter.
Hmm.
And then you say, what's the specific? And you could even ask ChatGPT for a question,
Oh, there,
right?
I created a whole custom GPT now that will give me an agenda with the questions and
There
like
you
help
go.
and it gives me pauses and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, in my experience with ChatGPT and like building some sort of outline for a facilitated session or workshop, it does know how to facilitate, right? So it is going to put in the questions, it's going to put in the
yeah.
pauses,
Hmm.
in there for you. Yeah.
Activities to do,
That's
breakout
right. Yeah.
sessions. It's got the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which was interesting because I went through all this analysis and at the end I said, "Hey, can you create me a custom GPT for when I do the next one where I can just input where what I want to talk about, the topics, and give you maybe the slide deck, and then you can build the agenda that that takes this feedback and allows me to be, follow it in a way that makes it more engaging,
And
etc.
improve your facilitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so hopefully the next one's better.
It will be. I mean, it's incremental. You can't expect, by the way, just a level set here. You're taking all this feedback, which is incredible because a lot of people would be like, forget it, and they'll just toss it aside. So you're taking the feedback, but this next session, like you're not going to
Oh, I'm not gonna be
solve
perfect.
for
Yeah,
it,
it's gonna
right?
be
Yeah.
yeah, just make it better than the last one, I think is the
Incremental,
goal. Yeah, incremental
incremental growth.
improvements.
Yeah.
Which is another awesome thing is when it gave me suggestions on how to implement some of these changes, it gave me kind of in 2 weeks, you should maybe focus on these things. In 5 to 6 weeks,
Oh.
focus on those things. Yeah. And because it even
So the
says,
most
hey,
pressing thing first.
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
saying that? Yeah.
yeah. And part of it too was, your audience might react poorly to you implementing so many changes all at
Oh.
once. Some
Mhm.
people might, enjoy kind of the theoretical talks that you have and enjoy, just listening. And then if you start forcing everyone to like start engaging, it might be a little jarring for people. So
Oh,
it kind of like
that's
gave me a slow ramp up to like
that's a
what
really
it should
great
be.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number three, passive tool demos. Kind of, there's definitely a theme of like me doing too much on
Yes.
these. It says you use a watch and listen structure, which limits hands-on application and investment.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the demos and stuff that I'm doing, it's me just doing it on and sharing my screen and showing them. And I think this week what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna pause and everyone's gonna try to do the activity together using their AI tools.
Perfect.
Yeah. So passive tool demos.
The other
Um,
thing you can do in the future, if you're interested, is think about maybe somebody who's pretty engaged or would have the time. This is tricky, right? Because they don't always have the time, but maybe you could, meet with someone in advance and have them, like another
yes.
student,
Yeah.
demo it
Yeah.
while everybody else is still doing their part, right? Doing it at the same time.
Ooh,
But
okay.
that takes your voice out of it and highlights somebody,
Yeah.
who's maybe generated a little bit of expertise in that,
Yeah.
with that tool.
Yeah, this is good. And it takes pressure off me too. It was like
That's
I'm doing
right.
so
That's
much
right.
prep work for these. Um, where yeah,
Yeah,
I could take
facilitating
some of
is
the load.
hard. People think it's not, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of takes the pressure off me, a little bit too, which is nice.
Hmm.
Okay, number four, low interactivity collaboration. Sessions resemble webinars more than workshops. Need peer-driven problem solving. Yeah, this is kind of very similar. It's just like, hey, you need to do things more for your audience to participate versus you just kind of, vomiting everything on. That's probably not the right
Feels
analogy.
violent. Yeah. Okay.
Is yeah, not the maybe having a 3-year-old is the reason I
I'm
went there.
sure that's your world. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay, and then so the last one, misalignment with immediate needs. Content sometimes feels theoretical. Participants want quick, relevant wins tied to real work. Yeah, I get it.
Mm.
Yeah,
And help them build their confidence, right? In what they're learning and like, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and it makes sense. People don't want all this theory all the time. They want to like, hey, okay, what's the quick takeaway I can use now on my job? And I feel like I do give that in some of them, but yeah, definitely need to put that more in the forefront. But that was number five. So those were the five themes.
Okay.
The in the executive summary that it gave me, it had quick wins. So shift to targeted questions, embed micro activities every 5 to 7 minutes,
Yep.
highlight participant success stories, and shorten sessions. Okay. Definitely taking a few of those for this week. Strategic bets, redesign format to participant driven lab model, integrate gamification, and implement role based challenges. So this one came from Claude. I definitely know
Hmm.
that. And it was called out as like, this is a kind of outlier, wacky, different suggestion than all the other LMs gave. Like all the other LMs gave kind of the quick wins suggestions, which is, I think perfect feedback. This
Yes.
one was like, hey, you need to gamify. So it was a little out there. So this,
Well, that's,
yeah.
yeah, that's going to take some work to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's under strategic bets, and then risks unknowns. Oh yeah, in the executive summary said, yeah, you could have possible pushback from participants not comfortable with live sharing. Need to pilot changes to avoid drop off.
So for sure, I would start with, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think that like one of the a misstep for a facilitator is to put someone on the spot when they're not ready. Like you and I have talked about how we have very different styles when we're entering a conversation, even with each other, where I'm just like, tell me what we're talking about and let's go. Right. And
Yeah.
you're
I
like, hey, I just
cannot
want to
do
think
that.
about what I might
Yeah.
want to contribute. Right.
Mhm.
Neither of those styles is wrong. It's just who we are and how we, what we bring to the table. So you have to imagine that you've got the same makeup of people in your class,
Yeah.
that some people need some time. And I think I love this suggestion of, and the starting to incorporate some people who you can meet with ahead of time, prepare them, give them some expectation as to, I want you to take these 2 minutes or whatever it is. And 2 minutes can feel like a long time to
Oh
somebody
yeah.
in a
Yeah.
situation like that. And just, this is what I want you to do. I think you're doing a great job with this. And I think the group responds to you. Here's a thing that I want to highlight that you've done well, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain it? And I think at that point, you've given, even if that person is, they could be an on the spot kind of person, but even so, you've already prepared them for what you want, and then you're highlighting somebody, which is really cool. They feel incredible,
Yeah. Mhm.
about it. The other thing, and this is, I think, maybe like more of an advanced facility. It doesn't sound advanced when I say this out loud, but I think it is more of an advanced facilitator tool.
Mhm.
One of the things that we use often, especially when we have people who, and this I think will come down the line for you when you get more engagement,
Sure.
people who are still less engaged after you've incorporated some of these things that ChatGPT has suggested, or the different models have suggested,
Mhm.
is the rule of three. So let's say, I pose a question and you raise your hand, like electronically, you raise your hand, and then one other person does or something. And I know that Sally over here just really, I know she's got a lot to contribute and she just doesn't speak up.
Oh.
And I might say, okay, Daniel, I see your hand is raised. I'll come to you. And then Fred, I'm coming to you. And Sally, I'm going to come to you third to hear, because I want to hear
Oh,
your thoughts.
I like this.
Right. So now Sally knows that she's being called on, but she's got a little bit of time between your answer and Fred's answer to think about what she's going to say before she contributes it.
That's really good. I like
Yeah.
that because I'm Sally a lot in those types of situations where,
Yeah.
I don't say anything and I need time to think about my response.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it
then,
gives, I mean, it's not a ton of time, but it gives you at least a heads up. I'm not coming
yeah.
at you cold, being
Yeah.
like, what do you think? You're like, oh my goch, I just was thinking about my lunch or whatever, not
Oh,
that you're
that's a
kind of
good
holding
one.
that.
I like
But
that.
yeah, rule
It's
of
like,
three.
yeah, you call in the people that volunteer first, and then you call out a third person that
Yep.
can give some good feedback or have some good thoughts
Hmm.
that you want to pull into the conversation. Very
That's
good.
right.
That's a good one. Any other suggestions, thoughts? That's what I say on my things.
I know you just that I'm like,
I
oh,
just put that why
I
question
get it.
onto you.
Was that on purpose to like showcase
Exactly. This is what you
the
shouldn't do.
breakdown?
You shouldn't. Yeah. Thoughts, anyone? No. Okay.
Any
Moving
thoughts?
on.
Um, yeah, that's very vague.
I
Yeah.
know exactly. And now you're like I can go in a million directions right now.
That's exactly
So
what I just thought. Like, what do I want to say here that feels meaningful? I think
yeah.
that's what your people are feeling.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. This is like live feedback.
yeah.
This yeah.
I mean, kudos to you, by the way, for seeking out this feedback. I think the most important thing that we can do, as I said earlier, is shift our mindset about what feedback is. It is truly a gift. And when you can sit with it, it doesn't have to feel good the first time you read or hear any feedback. It can
Mhm.
feel crappy, when somebody is telling you something that's really hard to hear. Though you have to tell yourself and convince yourself that this person cares about me. Otherwise, they would not take the time, when we're talking about a human being, right? Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't take the time to give you the feedback if they didn't care about you, because the
Yeah.
feedback is going to help you hedge some sort of consequence down the road.
Yeah.
Right? Like your consequence being people are like, I don't want to be in this program. That's pretty dire. But like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to show up for these, learning sessions.
Yeah.
Um, so, this shift in like you sought it out, you've digested it,
Mhm.
what a cool way. I mean, the emotion is gone out of these, this
Yeah.
tool. Like they're just there to tell you critically, like this, or objectively,
Yeah.
this is, do you think that, okay, do you think that that's easier to take, like to hear as feedback when it is completely objective and there's no human being giving in this? What if someone
I
else had given you, like a person, what if I watched your sessions and gave you this feedback? Or maybe maybe not me, but like somebody
yeah.
else,
Well, yeah, I think like I trust and respect you, so I think I would have taken it differently from you. But if some
Yeah.
random person, that I didn't really know came in to say like, "Hey, you talk way too much on your learning
Yeah.
sessions," yeah, that would have been a
How
little
would that
tough
feel?
to swallow.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, I prefer this. Like as an introvert and as someone who tends to not avoid conflict, but it's not something I enjoy doing. Uh, it was a great way to get feedback. I really liked it. I'm gonna use this going forward. Just, record a couple meetings and have AI continue to critique me on how I'm doing
I
to
think
get
it's
better.
so good. You've like really blown my mind with this. And I mean it. I'm not even trying to be dramatic. Like, I can't tell you how many organizations we talk to who struggle with this and who are interested in, or even just think about some of the conversations we've had with clients about like how they think the problem is one thing. And it
Yeah.
really comes down to, are your people talking to each other and actually sharing critical feedback, right? Are they giving each other this feedback that is so needed? And so many organizations have this idea that they want to create this feedback culture. And the barrier is always the emotion that's tied to that
Oh
feedback.
yeah. Yeah. Like
Always, because we're human beings and it's natural to feel a sting
it's
when we
tough.
hear something that's critical, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, even the most self-aware of us, which you and I are both pretty self-aware. Like,
Yeah.
I know what my issues are most of the time. It doesn't mean that I always address them, but we know even the
hmm
most self-aware among us really
Yeah.
struggle when someone comes at us with something that's
Yeah.
tricky,
So
So this is like a game changer when I'm thinking about how to help these companies shift
yeah,
to
what are
feedback culture.
what are your thoughts on this? Like as a manager, you're in a meeting and you realize, hey, maybe some of, my people could use some feedback. Like, hey, I know what you're gonna say. It's like always better to give it in the moment and in
Mhm.
person.
It's close to the moment. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
But what are your thoughts on like telling your team, hey, why don't we have this meeting? Let's record it. And I would love for all of you to take this meeting transcript back to ChatGPT and have it critique how you did in that meeting.
I love it. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, the result is what we're like. We want the feedback, right?
Yeah.
However, we need to get there,
Yeah.
I'll take it, right?
Yeah.
Because it removes that emotional piece, like we're
Yeah.
talking
It's
about.
like a soft way to get the conversation started on those things. Yeah, because then the people can come back and say, like, hey, ChatGPT came back and had these few points. What are your thoughts? And you can go, like, yeah, I agree with that. This is
Uh-huh.
where I thought it happened. Oh, one thing that ChatGPT didn't bring up that, if you're open to it, my suggestion would be this. So then yeah, it's like,
Yeah, it could blossom from there. And it does create a muscle memory. Like I always talk about when I talk about feedback, is that it's going to feel really hard at first, especially if this is something that's new to you as a leader or even as a colleague or friend or
mhm,
spouse. I mean, we should be giving feedback and receiving feedback from everyone who cares about us in our world, right? And it's going to feel hard. And it just like anything, it's a muscle memory that strengthens over time
yeah,
or that we're creating, right? A muscle that we're strengthening and then creating this muscle memory to say, like, after a while, it's not as hard.
yeah,
Get better at it. You're more empathetic and kind about it, but clear again, knowing that clear is the way to go here.
yeah,
And you're helping someone see that shift in behavior, even the small thing, really gained them some sort of advantage down the road. Right. When you start to see that, you're like, okay, this is helpful. As hard as that was in the
yeah.
moment,
This is
really
such
did
a
better.
Yeah, this is such a good manager tool. Like
It is.
yeah,
I
especially if
love it.
you struggle with giving people feedback, like you kind of tend to avoid conflict and all that kind of stuff. This is a great soft way to get the ball rolling and still get to the end goal of or the end result of improving your team. This is yeah,
That's right. Because
big
I'm
help.
telling you, like, no team, no leader can truly lead a team or manager, without giving feedback. It's just not something that is like, it's non-negotiable as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
because people are operating in this way that they think is helpful to the team, and no one's telling them that this thing is disruptive. I assume good intent, right? With some people that I'm working with most of the time. And so if I'm behaving it, or I want people that to assume that of me too. So if I'm behaving in a way that is um, creating some sort of negative consequence or impact on the team, and no one's telling me, I'm thinking that what I'm doing is helpful or productive or effective, right, in some way, when in reality it's not. And it's like, I would be mortified if I learned it down the road instead of earlier.
Yeah.
Like, leaders have to give their people feedback. So if that's going to remove, if this whole thing is going to remove that barrier of the emotional piece or the fear of conflict or the lack of experience
hmm
giving feedback, like, all of these things are, I'm thrilled. Can you tell? Like, I am thrilled at this because it is, I think, one of the most challenging things for leaders and cultures,
Yeah.
organizational cultures.
Yeah. Like building a culture of feedback now, you can definitely integrate AI into that whole recipe for getting feedback and you can give your people directions. Hey, every month I would love for you to just work with AI and have AI give you feedback on your work and your
Mhm.
meeting facilitation, all that kind of stuff. And then bring that information to me as your manager and we can talk about it.
The one thing too that I would even say, because we don't want to take the human out of it, right? So there has to be conversation to your point, like bring it back and like
Yeah.
let's talk
Hmm.
about what's
Let's
in
talk
front of
about it.
you.
Yeah.
Because I think the human's going to have to add, there's this, like we talked about, there's this element of the LLM, right?
Hmm.
Learning model. What is it called?
Large language model. Yeah. So like
Okay.
just say ChatGPT. Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that it's not emotional, it's completely objective. It softens the blow a
Hmm.
little bit, right? When you hear it. But then when you enter or insert a human into the conversation, the human on the other side of it, whether you're your leader or whomever, the colleague who's the person saying, this is the feedback that I got. What do you think? There's some empathy that we have to come with, right?
Hmm.
Because it's still hard to hear. And now I'm a person sitting across from you. And so I need to be kind and empathetic toward this person and understand that this could be hard to hear. And then also, I think the element that we're often missing, and I think that ChatGPT can solve for this, but also like in the conversation, the person's going to know more about the dynamics of the situation than the model. And so the person who's your thought partner in all of this or conversation partner should come with some sort of suggestion, or there has to be a dialogue in terms of what to try instead. Like if you're doing this thing this way,
Hmm.
that's what usually breaks people down, where they'll be given feedback like I say, Daniel, you're interrupting people in meetings and it's creating a situation where your colleagues don't want to work with you. And it's like, okay, shoot, okay, and
Yeah.
then I leave, right? And you're like, well, okay, I got to stop interrupting, but what do I even do? Like, what can I try
Yeah.
instead?
Yeah.
It's a very simple example, but
Hmm.
like, so the idea is that the conversation partner can then insert or have a dialogue, like I said, about what you could try instead. Like,
Yeah.
try this
Hmm.
next time and let's see if that works. And then if that doesn't work, let's try this. I like the word try because
Yeah.
it means that it might take a couple tries to get to the thing that I'm going to now do that's the most
Hmm.
effective,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to pause for today.
Okay.
Appreciate everyone sticking around, and
Yes.
if you guys have any
We're so
critiques
grateful.
for me, or any suggestions for facilitation,
Well, me
please
too.
put it in the
Gosh,
comments.
we'd love the feedback. Truly, thank you for asking for that, Daniel, because I think we'd love to hear from the people who are listening. Like, what do you want to hear from us? What do you not like that we
Hmm.
do?
Feedback is a gift.
It is.
All
We got to
right.
walk the walk.
Hmm. Thanks for this, Carrie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you.
All right. Good to see you. See you
Bye.
on the next one. Right.
Yep. Bye.